For thousands of years, the galaxy lived in peace. The Great Council of Species ruled over all known systems. They controlled history, science, and knowledge. They taught everyone one simple truth: humans never existed. It was just a myth, a story made up by ancient storytellers. Most people never questioned it. Why should they? The galaxy had no signs of humans. No human planets, no human ships, no human technology, nothing. But then something happened. Something strange. A deep space probe, exploring the far edge of the Andoril void, picked up a signal. It was faint, hidden behind radiation storms and broken space. At first, the probe's AI ignored it, but the signal repeated, over and over. It wasn't natural. It had a pattern. It had structure. It sounded like a language. The probe sent the data back to the Council's Science Division. A team of researchers was assigned to decode it. They failed. The signal didn't match any known language. It didn't match any alien code, sound, or format. But something about it felt intelligent. A hidden rhythm. A pulse. And at the very end of the signal there was a strange sound. A single word. Whispered. The AI filtered it again and again. Finally, a pattern emerged. A voice. It said, Earth. The word had no meaning in the current galactic database. The researchers tried to translate it. No results. One junior scientist, a xenolinguist named Taro Venn, ran a secret search through the restricted archives. What he found shook him. Earth appeared in an old, locked file. A file marked Forbidden, Level Red. He reported it to his supervisor. Within an hour, Council agents arrived. The lab was shut down. All data was erased. But the signal had already spread. Copies were saved by rogue archivists and shared across underground networks. The word Earth began to appear in whispers, in secret meetings, in late-night pirate broadcasts. People started asking questions, dangerous questions. The Council called it false, a trick. They claimed the signal was just a broken transmission from a dead satellite. But not everyone believed them. Some independent explorers decided to find the source. A small science ship named Starlight Echo was sent by a private research group. It was quiet, fast, and built for stealth. On board were 6 crew members, young, curious, and brave. Captain Rena Voss led the mission. She had always questioned the Council's version of history. The others were scientists and technicians, each selected for their skill and silence. They knew if the Council found out, they would be arrested, or worse. They followed the signal trail into the Andoril void. It was a dark, silent part of space. No stars, no planets, no traffic. Just emptiness and drifting dust. The deeper they went, the more unstable their systems became. Communications failed. Navigation maps went blank. Gravity sensors showed impossible results. Then they found it. Structure. Floating alone in the darkness. It was massive. Black, shaped like a pyramid but broken. Part of it was cracked open, revealing metal far older than any known design. There were no markings, no lights, no signs of life. But the signal was strong here. It came from deep inside. They sent a drone inside. It vanished. No return. Captain Rena decided they had no choice. They would go in. As they entered the structure, something strange happened. Their lights flickered. Their ship systems glitched. But the airlock opened smoothly. Inside, it was quiet, cold. The walls were covered in a language none of them had ever seen. Symbols curved like waves, lines that seemed to shift when not. Being watched, they walked deeper into the ruin. Then they saw them, pods, dozens of them. Some were broken, some empty, but a few were still active. Inside one, a figure slept, a humanoid, pale skin, dark hair, muscular body, human. The crew stood frozen. Captain Rena's voice shook. This can't be. The signal started again. This time it came from the pod itself. The language shifted into something familiar. Galactic Basic. The pods. Screen lit up. 3 words blinked slowly. Status. Human. Alive. The crew backed away. Taro Ven whispered, "But humans don't exist. They never did. That's what we were told." Another voice spoke from the shadows, not from a person, but from the structure itself. The walls vibrated. A voice echoed in their minds, soft, calm, but heavy with power. "Welcome back, children of Earth." Panic filled the crew. They ran back to the ship. The signal was now transmitting at full power, blasting across the galaxy. The word Earth repeated again and again. Across council space, alarms rang. War rooms lit up. Commanders gave emergency orders, but it was too late. The truth was out. And somewhere, deep in forgotten space, other signals started to awaken. Long dead. Machines blinked on. Old satellites turned their eyes to the stars, and in a hidden corner of the galaxy, someone, opened their eyes. They had slept for thousands of years, and now they remembered who they were. The galaxy was told. Humans never existed. They were wrong. The ship's starlight echo left the dark structure in silence. No one spoke for hours. Captain Rena Voss sat alone in the command chair, watching the stars drift by. The rest of the crew was shaken. What they saw, what they found, was impossible. The word still echoed in their minds. Human. Alive. Taro. Ven, the young linguist, replayed the message again and again. It had spoken to them. It had welcomed them as children of Earth. But Earth wasn't real, right? The Council had erased it from all history. No maps showed its location. No records mentioned its people. According to the galaxy, Earth was a story, a ghost. But now, a real body, a real human, sleeping in a pod, and that was not the end. As the crew moved away from the signal source, the ship's sensors picked up something else, something huge, floating in a nearby dust field. It had no energy signal, no life readings. It looked dead. But the shape was clear, a ship. It was massive, nearly 2 kilometers long. Its design didn't match any known species. No lights, no movement, just floating silently, like a corpse in space. Rena ordered a closer scan. The results shocked them. Hull made of unknown alloy. Inner structure damaged but still intact. And, deep inside, faint power signatures, still running. The crew looked at each other. Taro whispered, "Could it be human?" They suited up and boarded the ship. The airlock opened without effort. Inside, everything was frozen in time. Long, empty halls, walls covered in dust, lights flickered faintly. Some areas were burned, others were sealed by blast doors. As they walked deeper, strange details appeared. Writing on the walls, similar to what they saw in the structure. But now, some of it made sense. Taro could read bits and pieces. Crew deck. Command center. Cryo hold. The words were in a dead language, but one that was starting to feel familiar. They reached the command, bridge, and stopped. Bodies. 10 of them, dressed in old, armored suits. Strange helmets. Human-like hands. All of them were frozen, killed in a firefight long ago. The bridge looked like a war zone. Broken chairs, shattered screens, a black hole where something exploded. Captain Rena looked around. Her voice was low. They were fighting each other. But why? One of the suits still had power. Taro touched it and the suit's chest lit up. A small screen appeared. Commander Elias Kane, Human Expeditionary Fleet. Status, terminated. They were not just human. They were part of a fleet. The crew began searching the ship faster. In the cryo hold, they found dozens of pods. Most were empty or broken, but 2 pods still worked. One of them still held a human, a young man, maybe 30 years old, muscular, sleeping peacefully. And then, without warning, his eyes opened. The crew jumped back. The pod hissed open. The man sat up slowly, breathing deep. He looked around at the crew, at their alien faces, at the old ship. His voice was quiet. "Where is Earth?" No one answered. They couldn't. He stepped out, looked at the bodies, the damage, the silence. His face hardened. "How long?" he asked. Taro tried to speak. We don't know. You've been asleep for a long time. Maybe hundreds of years, maybe more." The man nodded. He didn't seem surprised. Almost. Like he expected it. He looked at Reyna. "Name and species?" "Reyna Voss, human kin, captain of the ship Starlight Echo." His eyes narrowed. "Human kin? What does that mean?" She hesitated. "We're not human, just similar. Most species think humans are myths." He frowned. "We were erased." It wasn't a question. It was a fact. He turned to a broken console, plugged a small device from his suit into it. The ship came to life. Systems booted up. Lights brightened. Holograms flickered across the walls. He spoke softly. "This ship is the HSV Nightwind, part of the last human recon force. We were sent to hide, to wait, for a signal." He turned to the crew. His eyes burned with quiet fire. "That signal just woke us up." Outside, across the stars, things were changing. The signal from the ruin had reached farther than anyone guessed. Stations on the edge of the galaxy began to receive strange codes. Abandoned satellites powered up on their own. Entire planets experienced brief blackouts, followed by a message, "Earth remembers." The Council tried to hide it, but the panic was spreading. Old species whispered stories they weren't supposed to tell, about a time when humans ruled the stars, about how they built things no one understood, and how, one day, they vanished. Now the lost ship Nightwind was awake, and one man was walking its halls. He remembered his name, his mission, his orders, and the name of every system that betrayed Earth. The man from the pod called himself Commander Elias Kane. He spoke little, moved fast, and watched everything. On board Starlight Echo, the crew didn't know whether to trust him or fear him. But one thing was clear. He was a real human. And he remembered things no one else in the galaxy did. While the ship traveled through silent space, Kane worked inside the Nightwind. He repaired systems with ease. He walked through the ruined ship like he belonged there. He accessed sealed files, maps, mission orders, logs. Taro Ven tried to understand the data, but most of it was locked under strange codes. Human encryption, complex, alive, shifting. When he asked Kane to explain, the commander only said, "You weren't meant to see this." But Reyna Voss was not the type to back down. She followed Kane into the Nightwind's bridge and demanded answers. "We risked everything to find the truth," she said. "You can't just hide it from us." Kane studied her for a moment. Then he nodded. He tapped the console, and a map appeared. It showed hundreds of red dots, systems spread across the galaxy. Most had familiar names. Some were part of the Council. Others were marked in red. Kane pointed at them. "These are Earth colonies, outposts, research worlds, battle zones. All of them were erased from records." Taro leaned closer. "But they don't exist. The Council says Earth never existed." Kane's voice was cold. Because they destroyed the truth. They burned our history. Then they made... Sure, no one remembered. He zoomed in on a star system. It was empty on modern maps, just a dead star with no planets. But Kane's screen showed something else. A planet named Eden Prime. Population, 9 million, human. Status, lost, classified level 0. What is level 0? Rena asked. Kane looked at her. It means extinction. The room went silent. Kane showed more, images of ruined cities, scorched planets, council war fleets. Each file ended the same way. Operation Veil successful, data deleted. Taro sat down slowly. So they didn't just erase humans. They hunted them. Kane didn't answer. He didn't need to. Back. On the Starlight Echo, the crew argued over what to do next. Some wanted to leave, to return and warn others, but Rena refused. We came to find the truth. Now we carry it. If we run, it all stays buried again. Kane gave her one choice. You want proof? Then take us to the memory vault. Taro blinked. The what? There's one place in the galaxy the Council can't reach. A dead moon, in the Asaran Drift. No life, no value. But long ago, Earth placed something there. He turned to Rena. If you're serious about the truth, that's where we go. They changed course. As they flew through Council space, alarms began to rise. Across the galaxy, the signal from the Nightwind was spreading. Every hour, more stations reported strange malfunctions. Defense satellites turned off without cause. Forgotten files appeared in secure networks. And on a quiet world in Council territory, a scholar named Lenkar received an old book. It arrived. By courier drone. No sender, no ID. Just one word on the cover. Earth. Lenkar was a historian, trained by the Council. He believed in their truth. But as he opened the book, his hands shook. The pages were full of forbidden names. Human names. Pictures, maps, and at the end, a warning. They tried to forget us, but we did not forget them. Lenkar rushed to report the book to the authorities, but the Council did not respond, because they were already watching something worse. A ghost fleet, ships with no registry, no signal, no life readings. They moved in silence across dead space. Invisible. To most scanners, and on their hulls. A symbol not seen in thousands of years. A blue planet. With a single word beneath it. Earth. Back aboard Starlight Echo, the crew arrived at the Asaran Drift. They found the moon. It was cold, dark, and lifeless. Nothing on the surface. But under the rock, Kane led them to a hidden hangar. The entrance opened only after scanning his DNA. Inside was a chamber, metal walls, human tech, and a glowing cube at the center. Kane stepped forward and said one word. Awaken. The cube lit up. A hologram appeared. An old man in uniform. Eyes. Tired, but sharp. Commander Kane, the image said. If you're seeing this, Earth has been forgotten. And it's time to remember. The message told everything. The war, the betrayal, the final mission to scatter the truth across the stars, and a promise. If even one of us survives, they will know what we were, and what we will become again. The hologram ended. The cube powered down. Kane turned to Rena. You wanted the truth? Now you have it! Taro's voice was shaking. What do we do now? Kane looked up at the stars. We bring back what they tried to kill. We bring back Earth. But in the shadows of space, the Council had already sent warships, and the hunt for the last human had begun. The stars looked calm, but the danger was near. Commander Elias Kane stood at the edge of the hangar on the dead moon, looking up into space. The memory vault had done its job. The truth was unlocked. Now there was no turning back. Inside Starlight Echo, the crew was silent. Everyone had seen the message from the cube. They knew now humans were not a myth. Earth was real, And worse, the Council had lied for centuries. Captain Reyna Voss stood near the command console, her hands tight on the edge. "They'll come for us," she said. Kane nodded. "They're already coming." Reyna turned to her crew. "No more hiding. We take this truth and we run to somewhere safe, somewhere we can spread it." But there was no safe place anymore, not after the Council activated Protocol C-Red. Across the galaxy, an alert was broadcast to all top Council military units. Human threat confirmed. Terminate with extreme force. The Council High Chamber was in chaos. Senators argued. Generals shouted, "How did this happen? How is he alive? Who broke the veil? Who else knows?" The truth was dangerous. One real human alive meant others could exist. And if the galaxy believed Earth still lived, everything the Council built would fall. So they sent the Hunters, special Black Ops fleets, ships without names, pilots without records. Their job: erase Kane, Reyna, and anyone who helped them. The first Hunter ship arrived at the edge of the Asaran Drift just hours after Starlight Echo left the moon. They found the memory vault, but it was already empty. The chase had begun. On the Echo, alarms screamed. Kane's eyes narrowed at the screens. "They're tracking our energy signature." Reyna turned to her pilot. "Kill the engines. Cut all heat. Drift us into the asteroid field." The ship went dark. Everything turned cold. No lights, no systems, just silent floating among rocks. Outside, the Hunter ships passed. Big, fast, deadly. Inside the Echo, the crew held their breath for 1 hour. Nothing happened. Then, one of the rocks near them moved. Not a rock. A drone. Council-made, shaped like a small moon fragment. It scanned the Echo with silent beams. Kane reacted, fast. He moved through the dark like he knew every inch, pulled a small device from his suit, attached it to the hull wall. "What is that?" Tara whispered. "Old tech, human ghost jammer," Kane replied. "It tells machines, we're not here." The drone blinked, scanned again, then moved on. It worked. But Kane's face was hard. "They're using old tactics. That means they're serious. They're scared." Reyna asked, "What are they afraid of?" He looked at her. "You." The ship powered up again when the Hunters left the area. But now they couldn't travel straight. They had to move slow through dark space lanes. Every hour, Kane checked for new signals. He rewrote the Echo's codes, added fake ID tags, and erased their energy trails. But it wasn't enough. Because the Council wasn't just chasing with ships, they were sending messages to nearby systems, to bounty networks, to informants. Human known as Elias Kane is a biological weapon, armed, hostile, wanted dead. Every planet, every outpost now had his face, and Reyna's too. Half the galaxy began hunting them for credits. The crew grew nervous. Some even whispered about handing Kane over. But Reyna crushed that idea fast. "No one touches him. We made a choice. We see this through." Taro worked with Kane to unlock more files from the Nightwind's database. Hidden data, names of council generals, old betrayals, dead colonies. Taro's voice shook as he read one entry. "This file says the Council used humans, in secret, after the war, for experiments, mind control, cybernetic trials." He looked at Kane. "Did you know this?" Kane didn't speak for a long time. Then he nodded. "We weren't all killed. Some were taken, used, broken." His fists clenched. "And now they think we forgot." That night, Reyna sat alone in the observation deck. Stars drifted past the window. Kane joined her. "Why did they fear you so much?" she asked. He looked into the stars. "Because we were free. We didn't follow their counsel. We questioned them. We resisted. We built weapons they couldn't control. Ships that vanished from scanners. soldiers who never broke. He turned to her. We didn't want war, but we were ready for it, she asked quietly. And now? He gave a thin smile. Now I'm just one. But even one is enough to start something again. Suddenly alarms rang again. Not hunter ships this time. Something else. A distress call. Nearby. A civilian vessel attacked, sending coordinates, Taro shouted from the console. We can help them. They're under fire. Rena hesitated. It could be a trap. Kane said nothing. Just walk to the weapons bay. Trap or not, we're going. Rena gave the order. The Echo turned, toward the fire, toward the fight, and across the galaxy, a whisper grew louder. The human is alive, and he's fighting back. The stars burned quietly, but war was returning. The Starlight Echo jumped out of hyperspace and entered the zone where the distress signal had come from. The crew expected wreckage, maybe survivors. What they saw was fire. A civilian freighter was drifting, engines damaged, shields flickering. It was under attack by a Council Hunter drone, a black-winged machine shaped like a hawk, silent, deadly. One strike away from killing everyone on board. Rena Voss didn't wait. Raise shields! Arm forward cannons! Taro locked onto the Hunter. Drone and fired a warning shot. The beam cut across space, clean and close. The drone turned, scanning them. It recognized Starlight Echo instantly. The tag had been changed, but the Hunter's mind was too advanced. It had one mission: kill the last human. The drone launched plasma bolts fast and precise. Rena's ship shook under impact. Lights flickered. Kane didn't flinch. He had seen worse. He stepped forward and touched the console. Override firing. Systems. Let me handle this. Taro blinked. You know how to use our weapons? I built better ones. With rapid taps, Kane reconfigured the system, linked the laser banks into a single pulse, adjusted the shields to pulse in rhythm with. The enemy's shots, the next bolt hit, but it bounced off. Rena watched in shock. You just turned our ship into a mirror. Temporary, Kane said. But enough. He fired one shot. Clean. Perfect. The drone exploded in silence. The crew stared at the screen. The threat was gone. But something else had started. They docked with the damaged freighter. Inside were miners, civilians, scared, hurt, confused. Rena offered medical help, food, protection. One of the miners, a woman named Senya, grabbed her hand. You're the ones they're talking about. With the human, the one they said is dangerous. Kane stepped into view. Senya stared at him. Then she smiled. I don't think you're the danger. I think they're afraid of what you'll bring back. Kane gave no answer, just a silent nod. But the word was spreading now. Not just whispers, stories. That a ghost from Earth was alive, that he had weapons even the Council feared, that the old fire was rising again. Back on a Council warship, Admiral Jor-El paced the bridge. He had once believed Earth was a lie, a tool used to scare young officers into loyalty. But now he watched footage of the battle. The drone had been destroyed by a single blast. He had seen that kind of power before, on Earth, long ago. Jor-El turned to his AI officer. Issue Order 47. Begin total blackout of all human-related data. Shut down public networks. Burn the signals. The AI hesitated. That will create suspicion. Do it anyway. But it was already too late. The signal was out. The files from the Night Wind, the data from the memory vault, even images of Kane were being shared in secret across systems. Some erased them. Others downloaded and hid them. And in old corners of space, forgotten by the Council, a strange thing happened. Old warships activated. Buried bunkers lit up. Silent satellites turned to face Earth's last known location. Something ancient was stirring. Back on Starlight Echo, the crew argued over their next move. We can't keep running, Taro said. Every time we help someone, the council finds us again. Rena looked at Kane. Then maybe it's time we stop running. Kane leaned forward. I have coordinates, a place where Earth's signal was last received, just before the war ended. It's not on maps anymore. The council destroyed the star in records. What's there? She asked. Kane's eyes were dark. A gate. Taro frowned. A gate? Yes, Kane said. A deep space warp field. A human creation. One that leads to the last bastion. What is that? Rena asked. He looked at her. Our final stronghold. The last human fleet. Hidden. Sleeping. Waiting for the right signal. The room fell silent. Taro swallowed. You think they're still alive? Kane looked away. I don't know. But if they are, then Earth's shadow will fall again. And this time they won't be ready. Rena nodded. Set course. Take us to the gate. 3 council fleets gathered near the drift systems. The admirals argued again. They're just one ship. But, he's human. You saw what happened to the drone. If Earth comes back, we all fall. We must find the gate. Destroy it. Seal whatever's left behind it. But no one knew where the gate was. Except Kane, and he was already on the move. As Starlight Echo crossed into dead space, the stars seemed colder. Kane walked through the halls of the ship, remembering the wars, the betrayals, the silence after. He stopped at a window and looked into the black. You erased our cities, he whispered. You killed our people. You burned our skies. Then he smiled. But we built in the shadows. We endured. Behind him, the signal cube blinked again. A new message. From deep space, just 2 words. We hear. Kane stood still, then turned to Rena. It's starting. The stars ahead were quiet. Too quiet. Starlight Echo entered a sector long erased from every star map. There was no light, no traffic, no signals. The area was called the Grave Expanse. No one came here, no one returned from here, but Kane remembered it. He stood at the bridge window, watching as the darkness around them grew thicker. Not just space. It felt like something ancient. Waiting. Rena adjusted the scanners. There's nothing, just empty vacuum. No, Kane said. That's what they want you to see. He walked to the central console, pulled out the cube once more, and placed it in the slot. A soft hum filled the room. Then, a map appeared. Not on the screen. In the air. A hologram, projected in raw light. Ancient human tech. It showed a circular structure, miles wide, hidden inside a black nebula. The Gate of the Lost, Kane said quietly. Only 3 were ever built. 2 were destroyed. This one survived. Just barely. Taro blinked. It's huge. That thing could send entire fleets across galaxies. It did, Kane replied. This gate was Earth's escape plan. When we knew the Council would burn our skies, we built this. We sent our people somewhere beyond known space. Somewhere the Council couldn't follow. Rena turned. You're saying Earth didn't die? I'm saying we left before they could finish the job. The ship moved forward. The nebula grew closer. The stars behind them vanished one by one. Then, through the clouds of dust and black energy, they saw it. The gate, a massive ring, floating silently in the void, broken in places, old, but not dead. Rena gasped. It's still here. The structure was shaped like a circle of mountains, with glowing veins of gold tech running through it. In the center, nothing but darkness. A space where no light escaped. Kane activated the cube again. The ring pulsed. Faint lights flickered on. One by one, ancient systems came back online. For the first time in centuries, the Gate of the Lost was waking up. But someone else noticed. 2, a long-range alert sounded. Taro checked the radar. Council ship. No, 3 ships. Coming in fast, Rena shouted. How did they find us? Kane's face was calm. They were always watching. The moment I activated the gate, they locked on. Rena stared at the gate. Can we go through? Not yet, Kane said. It needs power, a key, a signal. He reached into his belt and pulled out a small metal shard. It looked like a broken coin. This, he said, is a piece of Earth's heart, the last power core, a fusion of memory and code. He inserted the shard into the main panel. The gate responded. It spun, slowly at first, then faster. A deep hum filled the air. Electricity jumped between the rings. The space in the center began to change, warping, bending, becoming something other. A portal. Taro stared in awe. It's opening. But alarms screamed again. The council ships were close. One of them fired a warning shot that rocked Starlight Echo. We have to go now, Rena shouted. Kane didn't move. I can't leave yet. I have to send the signal. If anyone's still out there, humans, hidden fleets, sleepers, they need to know. Rena grabbed his arm. You'll die if you stay. Kane looked at her. I already did. Then he smiled, softly. But I came back for this. He ran to the communications deck and connected the cube to the transmission system. The gate was wide open now, glowing like a sun made of memory. Kane typed fast. Entered old code. Human military encryption. A message buried in light. This is Elias Kane. I am alive. Earth is not forgotten. If you hear this, come home. He pressed send. The signal passed through the gate, shooting into unknown space. Then, the council ships opened fire. Starlight Echo shook violently. Rena grabbed the controls. We're out of time. Kane, get back here. He didn't reply. He walked slowly back toward the main chamber, the ship burning around him. He made it to the bridge just as another explosion rocked the hull. I hope they hear me, he said. They will, Rena replied. Because if they're anything like you, they never stopped listening. Starlight Echo dived toward the gate. Council ships chased behind. More were arriving. One ship got too close. Rena fired and blasted it into the void. The portal shimmered, now fully open. Rena looked at Kane. Ready? He nodded once. Let's go home. The ship entered the gate. A flash of light, then silence. The council ships reached the gate, but it was closing. Too late. They fired, but the portal collapsed. The gate shut, and Starlight Echo was gone. Far, far beyond the galaxy, in a place with no name. A single ship appeared. The space was different here. Strange stars, colors never seen before. Empty, but not dead. Starlight Echo floated silently. Inside, the crew stood in awe. Then, one by one, lights appeared in the sky. Dozens, hundreds, ships, human ships, old designs, new shapes, massive carriers, sleek interceptors. Some looked damaged, others perfect. A deep voice echoed on the comms. Identify yourself. Kane smiled and stepped forward. This is Elias Kane, of Earth. A pause. Then the voice returned. Welcome back, brother. We've been waiting. The stars were unfamiliar. The space around them felt old and waiting. Starlight Echo floated silently in this new galaxy. All systems were stable. No threats, no council. Just silence. Then came the voice. Welcome back, brother. We've been waiting. The crew stood frozen. On the main screen, hundreds of human ships came into view. They were like shadows. Some rusty, others gleaming, all powerful. Rena stared in awe. How many are there? Kane stepped forward slowly. His voice was calm. All of them. The screen changed. Inside a massive command ship, a woman in silver armor appeared. Her hair was gray, eyes sharp. She looked at Kane with disbelief. Elias Kane, she said. We buried you. Twice. You buried my body, Kane replied. Not my mission. The woman smiled. I am Admiral Sierra Tal, commander of the last Bastion fleet, the last humans. Taro whispered. This isn't a graveyard, it's a fortress. Reyna looked around the bridge. But how did you survive? It's been over 200 years. Sierra nodded. We used cryofields, time distortion, AI farming. Earth planned for extinction, but also for return. Kane looked into the screen. I sent the signal. The Council knows. They will come. Sierra's face darkened. Then, it's time. In Council space, chaos erupted. The gate had reopened. The human signal was out. Old enemies remembered Earth's final screams. Young leaders read the ancient warnings. And in dark rooms, elder races whispered one word: humanity. They had tried to erase it, denied it ever existed. Now, they were coming back, and this time, they were angry. The Grand Council gathered. Dozens of alien races met in fear. Admiral Jor-El stood first. We must strike now, before they rebuild. Another voice shouted. They already rebuilt. You saw the footage. A fleet of warships, lost in space, now active. One of the senators trembled. The stories were true. Humans don't die. They wait. We must destroy the gate. But even that was no longer possible. The gate was already gone, self-destructed on the other side. Humanity had sealed the door behind them, and now they were preparing to walk through a new one. Inside the hidden sector, Starlight Echo docked with a human base the size of a moon. Inside the base were rows of soldiers waking from stasis, engineers checking old reactors, AI systems coming back online. Everywhere. Preparation, war. Sarah led Kane and Reyna through the horror. Command chamber. Screens displayed council ship positions, defense zones, old enemy patterns. You brought the key, Sierra said. The cube, the shard, the signal. Kane nodded. And I brought proof. He handed her a data file. Everything they had seen. The council's lies. The truth about Earth's destruction. The orders to wipe out every human colony. Sarah uploaded it to the system. Every screen lit up. Now, she said, every human left in this galaxy will see what they did. Taro frowned. But how will they see it? The Council controls the networks. Sarah smiled. We built our own. In every shadow corner of the galaxy, forgotten human devices activated. Old satellites, broken beacons, tiny listening posts buried. In asteroids, all of them blinked awake. They broadcast the message, Kane's voice. We are the children of Earth. You burned our world, but not our memory. You hunted us, but we survived. Now, we return. Billions heard it. In mining colonies, in criminal hubs, in outer slums, humans looked up. Many cried, some laughed, all of them remembered. Across the stars, they rose again. Back in the last bastion, war plans began. Sierra stood before the command table. A 3D map of the galaxy hovered above. She pointed at the old human core, the sector where Earth once stood. We will take this back first. Kane nodded. The Council has made it their capital now, Reyna asked. And Earth? Sierra paused. Then, tapped a dark area of the map. We lost contact with it, but I believe it still lives, under the ash, under the silence. Kane's voice was steady. Then we end this where it began. Taro looked nervous. We're going to war with the entire Council? Kane smiled. No, we're not going to war. We're bringing it. The fleet moved. Ships that had slept for centuries now roared to life. The engines of human war had returned. Stealth carriers, planet crackers, troop transports. New weapons, never tested before. Old legends, born again. As the first wave left the last bastion, a new signal was sent across all human ships. It was simple. 2 words. For Earth. In the core systems, Council worlds panicked. Cities prepared defenses. Satellites scanned space endlessly, and then, on the edge of known space, they saw it. A human fleet, coming fast, faster than anything they had seen. They tried to talk, tried to beg. But the humans said nothing. The Council had already spoken when they burned Earth. Now humanity had only one message left, and it came with fire. As the battle began and explosions lit the stars, Admiral Sira stood next to Kane on the bridge of the lead warship. She looked at him. "Do you think we'll win?" Kane didn't answer right away. He looked out at the stars. Then he said, "We don't need to win." She frowned. "What do you mean?" Kane turned, eyes burning with calm fury. "We just need to remind them that we existed.